I am Nahed Kabbani, and this is the Lighthouse for today's viewers. Welcome to our show. You don't have to be extraordinary person. You don't have to be a movie star, and you don't have to be one of the royal family to do extraordinary things. Today, in our studio, we have a special guest who does a lot of things as person by herself. She is an extraordinary lady, does a lot of charity work by herself in town and around the world. Before we talk further, let's go with her journey with Soheir after she introduced herself to you, my viewers. Let's welcome our guest. She is Professor Soheir Stolba. Let's welcome Professor Soheir. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Nahed. I really appreciate this opportunity, and I want to thank you for having me on your show.
You're welcome. So, before we go with your journey to share, let's our guest know about you and your background. Will you please?
Well, it's a long journey. Basically, I was born and raised in Egypt. I came from a well-to-do family, but I was very cognizant of poverty and the effect of poverty on particularly women and children. So I saw a lot of poor women struggling and children without an education, children with no food. And that really touched me from the very beginning of life. I finished my BA in English Literature from Cairo University, and in 1970 I came to the US as an immigrant. Mm-hmm. And at the time I had all these dreams of being a novelist, and I discovered very quickly that that's not a way to make money, and that's the hard way. Yes. To make a living. So I started looking at how to change my career. That was a long journey that took 3 master's degrees and a PhD from UC Davis, all in anthropology. And I fell into anthropology because I didn't know really much about it in Egypt. Mm-hmm. I studied English literature, and I started looking at what being an anthropologist means, and it meant a lot of travel and a lot of working with people, and particularly if you're an applied anthropologist, trying to make a difference, work with people. And that touched me very much, and that's what I wanted to do. But even specializing in anthropology, it's not the easiest way for making a living. Mm-hmm. So I chose a way of life in which I have a full-time teaching career at American River College. I taught at Sacramento State for 8 years too, part-time. Mm-hmm. But teaching is something that appeals to me too. So I weaved my life through basically teaching full-time, but also helping in development by taking short-term assignments and sometimes long-term assignments to developing countries to work with women and children. And in the field, I got really close to women. I became more knowledgeable about the problems they have, and I wanted to come back and continue helping them. And even though my work with agencies such as USAID, WHO, UNICEF, World Bank, and so on was very rewarding,
Yes.
but I was missing something. And what I was missing is the ability to see if what I did or the work I have accomplished with women, did it make a difference? Basically, when you work as a consultant, you get hired to do a job and goodbye.
Yes.
And you don't know the result of the work you did. I wanted to find a way to really help and have some sense of community with many of the women overseas that do good work and head nonprofit organizations. They call them NGOs abroad rather than nonprofits, but there are many, many good women who head these organizations. And I built a large group of friends from these women. So when I came back to the U.S., I felt the need to make a shift. And my shift was to start the SHARE Institute.
Wow, wow. I'm proud of you, actually. I'm proud
thank
of you
you.
as a woman
Thank you.
and also as an Arab American woman.
Thank you very
fit
much.
in America and have a dream in America and find the doors open for you all the way as a freedom of action and studying, at least as a woman. Really, it got you work hard for this position, actually.
Well, I think I have been very fortunate because I have been helped by many people. Some are young students that want to intern in the Institute to learn about development and learn about what it takes to run a nonprofit. I have been helped by associates that come in and join us to do some of the work that is really hard to do if you are only by yourself. So many people have helped because it takes a village, as they say.
Yes.
Yes.
But the way you build up, put the study and the reality, and build up this picture for future, and the way you insist to help women, that's something unusual, and this is something from your heart.
Thank you.
That's why you insist to know what is the result.
Right.
Otherwise, you will do the job and go.
Right.
You don't care about what is the result because you did your job. But no, you insist to find out what is the result, which is a great deal of following up of what you're doing, if it is benefit or not.
Working with nonprofits is a very different kind of job from working as a consultant, because in nonprofit work you get to know the people, you get to appreciate the challenges they have, and you work with them on technical issues if they need help. However, I'm not under any illusion that we will solve all the world's problems.
Absolutely.
But just making a little difference, I think, is important. And with the SHARE Institute, we work both internationally, and that's almost 90% of our work, but we also have some domestic U.S. work here in the Sacramento area.
That's wonderful. As you mentioned, we cannot solve the whole problem in the world, but if we stay home, we will not do nothing.
Right.
But little bit things better than nothing, and little bit with other hands together will make it little bit larger step and little more help for the whole world, which there is a bad need for that, actually. It's dearest to my heart, this topic, and nonprofit organization is my best maybe station or step. I choose it also for my time to live on earth from now on, and I was working also to do some difference in my life. So there is a lot to talk about, how you started your organization.
Yes. With the Share Institute, I started with two other colleagues, two very nice ladies, one with a nurse midwife, an American, and one with an Indian American. Mm-hmm. And all three of us put our heads together and we came up with the acronym SHARE, and we went through the painful process of hiring an attorney and getting the papers with the state all approved. And then we also formed a board. And that's one of the key steps that you have to deal with. And we have a very nice board. Of course, there are always people that leave for various reasons. This is a highly mobile society, and people have different things to do. But we have maintained a very nice collegial relationship. And that was the beginning. Unfortunately, the two other ladies that started with me, life, has its own way of finding other interests and sometimes some challenges. Yes. People encounter them and they end up leaving the Institute. But we all started together, and we have basically a cadre called associates. These are women volunteers that come and help for specific jobs. Then we have interns. Those are mostly college students from all over the Sacramento area. We recruit from American River College, City College, Sacramento State, and UC Davis. And they all have one interest, and that's primarily making a difference in people's life. But also, a lot of them want international experience. And SHARE organizes with other partners abroad trips for them where they actually do work in nonprofit organizations abroad. So that's a kind of a unique experience for many of these young people. And I would have to say I am very pleased because every one of the interns that has gone on a trip like that, it has helped them very, very much in their career. Some have gone to medical school, some are in finalized their legal education, and many of them are even working for USAID, and some are consultants. So it has been kind of a very good experience for many young people to join the Institute. And once they join us, really, they keep in touch and they stay more than a year to work with me. And
that's a good start for students. Also, right. Also on the resume, it looks nice for applying for jobs.
Very much so, yes. Very much so, because they learn about fundraising, they learn about how to choose nonprofits that apply to us, and how to look at issues of credibility and so on. So it's a good learning ground for most of these young people. And they get excited about, if they're making bags for women experiencing violence. So these are called care bags, and they get to form the bags themselves and sew them and put products for them to help women that leave their homes in a hurry. They love to do spring baskets for children of mustard seed here in the Sacramento area. We raise funds and we collect cans.
There is a lot to talk about. I know what I have seen at your home. It's incredible, actually.
Yeah.
So let's have a break and come back.
Okay.
We'll be back soon.
You're watching The Lighthouse for today's viewers. Brought to you by oneworldforyou.org.
So I'm so excited to know what is the mission of SHARE.
Well, SHARE's mission is to basically empower women and children and to collaborate with nonprofit organizations or non-governmental organizations, as they call them abroad, to try to help women and children. That's basically what it is. And we work mostly through the internet. We have a very active website, and we receive requests. There is not a day where I don't get a request. People access the application part of the grants, mini grants we call them, which are small amounts of money we fund. And we don't fund individuals. We fund nonprofit organizations. And the nonprofit organization basically in their application tell us what do they want to do, how they want to spend the money, what their objectives are, how many people they're going to help, and what are the outcomes of the project. Well, our biggest problem really is to try to figure out if people are honest and transparent, or actually this is going to get us into trouble. So we do the best we can. We go to the internet and we do searches on the nonprofit. We also, I have a vast network of friends and people in the field that I've worked with in the past, so we try to ask some questions. We also have a protocol of questions to ask. And I would have to say that in a total of 10 years of operation, because this is the end of our 10th year coming up soon, basically we've had only one major loss, and the loss was only $500, but it's still, to us, it's major, because we're not a large organization, and we work very, very hard to raise funds and so on. But with a track record of only one bad mini grant, I think I'm very thankful for that.
So you don't have a bank?
No.
And you don't have a big account?
No.
So when somebody apply for a grant, you bring the money through fundraising?
Well, most of the money is raised through various means. One is primarily through our board. Each board member has to donate a certain amount of money, but it's all modest. And including myself, I have to donate a certain amount of money. So that's the basis. And then we have raising once a year, and I think you attended that. Yes. And you saw the pictures and the sale of jewelry and some of the things that the women make and so on. And then we receive donations from the public, and that's about it. And that makes it hard to project how many projects we will be able to fund every year. But I can tell you, with the recession, things have been really tough. But last year, we were only able to fund like 6 projects. This year, we have completed 14. So in the past, when things were much better, we used to do 22 projects a year. Our projects are never more than $500 each. And the nonprofit has to send us a technical report of what they have done, progress reports, and we hold them really accountable. There is always communication, and that's why I depend on an associate to help us do this kind of communication. And we also get pictures. And that's where you find a lot of the pictures on the website and in the office and so on. But we don't have large grants, and we don't have, we received some grants from the Women Foundation in San Francisco, small one. We received a couple of things from Sacramento, but really we stayed away from large government grants because we wanted it to be people to people.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you don't write grants for you?
Well, I tried grants with foundations, but it's not all that easy, and it's extremely competitive. So we haven't been that successful in that part of it. And like I said, we keep it. If we raised $10,000, that's what we're going to spend. And everything is on volunteer basis, so we don't have the overhead. We have only half a person doing the accounting and keeping the IRS happy, but that's about it.
That's wonderful. If there is a will, there is a way.
Yes.
And with good heart, with good hands, all together will do more than you think as what you're doing also. You prove it.
Yes.
That's a great way to do. And what else you do through SHARE?
Well, I think SHARE, apart from funding grants, which is our mainstay to fund projects abroad, we have some projects here in Sacramento area because I want that to be a good learning experience for our interns. Our interns are very important to the SHARE Institute. These are young college students. So we try to help other nonprofit organizations. We try to donate food and give care bags to women who are in distress because of violence. We do a lot of advocacy against violence against women. I do public speaking, and I'm very active in the Sacramento community and the Bay Area too, speaking about various topics of research that I have done, including trafficking against women. That's our biggest area of concern and research. And we partner with other organizations abroad. We have a partner in Nicaragua where I send my interns to learn how to make a difference in poor women's lives in a big project. We've had like almost 16 trips of interns going and spending 2 weeks and coming back. We have a new partner in New Orleans where some interns are going for the first time to build homes for Katrina's victims. We have a partner in Cambodia where we work on teaching English and photography to poor kids that could make a living as tourist guides and so on. We have a partner in India, and it started with the tsunami, actually. We partnered with them because they needed funds to help tsunami victims. And since then, I have sent at least 10 interns to live in the orphanage that we helped fund. We only had a small part of it, but other organizations helped. And these are the orphans of the tsunami. And we send the interns to teach English. One of our intern was hoping to go to medical school, so we made a special arrangement for her to do health-related project. And this is kind of the scope of what SHARE does generally. That's
more than you think. Actually,
it's a lot of work.
You gave it to me with 10 minutes or sentences, but you work how many years
yes,
through
it's
that?
A lot
but
of
you
work.
did a lot. You did a lot. I'm proud of you, really.
Thank you.
So you have women interest and you have student interest.
Yes.
What do you have here
In the U.S.?
in the US?
Well, in the U.S., our role is to support other organizations. For example, we have helped Mustard Seed through donations of sometimes cash early on when we had the money, and definitely every year in the spring season we make spring baskets, and the interns make those, and each one would custom design their basket and give it to the children as a gift. We work very closely with St. John's Shelter. We collect cans. We just made a donation of about 600 cans of food a couple of weeks ago. We have an organic garden, and the interns work in the garden, and I do too, whenever I can get to it.
Yes.
But all the produce that we have goes to St. John. So we have made 22 runs with organic crops to the homeless.
Wow.
We have helped with the care bags for women who are experiencing violence. So I give public speaking lectures all around to raise awareness about international issues, especially research issues that I have been involved in. So that's the domestic part of it. It's not as big part of our portfolio as the international part.
Because of the students more.
It's more for the student. It's kind of a learning round for the students to complete and to feel good about helping in their own community.
And you do give credits for the students?
No.
You don't give credits for school?
Not at all. In fact, a lot of people have encouraged me to do credit, but I have a different philosophy. My philosophy is if somebody wants to learn and wants to make a difference, this is a good opportunity. They can go to school, to college, to get their own credit.
Yes.
But it is not a credit
That's a good way,
because
I noticed that some students get along with each thing coming in the way with fun to do something for credit, but not to study the major things.
Right.
So
I feel this is an individual choice, and if they make that choice, I hold them accountable to really making the best out of the experience. And I've had really good luck, very devoted. They're not looking for credit. They're looking for the experience.
They built up their own philosophy, their own insight of feeling how to do or to like to do.
And they learn as members of teams how to work in teams, and that's really important. And they support each other. They sit and try to compare what classes to take, but that's independent of me or share. They sit down and try to find which are the good schools to go to in their majors. And I would have to say Share has funneled in a large number to University of California, Berkeley.
That's wonderful.
So they all qualify, they all go, and they go to places.
This is share competition without bad feeling, but they compete with each other,
of course,
in different way. That's a great example and a great experience for the students.
Right.
I really appreciate that thought and this kind of work for the students. So let's have a break, and we'll be back with other information for you, my viewers.
OneWorldForYou.org, promoting cultural understanding through the media.
So when I visited you, I took that footage, and it will be nice to share with our viewers
Good.
what you have at home as fundraising. And I took so many pictures for the pictures on the wall and things around the world. So let's watch it together. enjoy it, and we'll be back soon. So, with our journey with Soheir, we would like to know from Professor Soheir, what is their projects in Soheir? Let's share with you your projects.
Well, I'm going to just choose a few of the projects that we have implemented and some that are currently being done. One of my good projects was a project in Nepal, and that project was women would borrow from the nonprofit organization we partnered with $50, and then they would buy 2 goats. And with the 2 goats, they raise them and they breed them, and then they start returning the money in a revolving fund to the nonprofits. We don't charge anything at all. We just give the money to the nonprofit, but the nonprofit collects the money and tries to keep it as a revolving fund. And we had a lot of success with that kind of what is called microcredit projects. I'm really one of the people that encourage microcredit because it makes a difference in people's life. You might not think that $50 is going to make any difference, but it does. And what it does is that it enables a woman to buy clothing for her child to go to school, or to buy shoes for the child to be able to go to school. These are some of the main barriers for lack of education.
The person in need, every penny is counted.
Right. Yeah. So we've done a lot of microcredit. Another very popular project that we're working on currently, in fact, I have one of my interns who went from Berkeley. She's at Berkeley, and she was funded by Berkeley, and Soheir has helped her to partner with a nonprofit organization that does microcredit. And this student basically designed the project completely from A to Z. And she's writing her honors thesis on the project. She's leaving within 2 weeks for a second trip to follow up on what the women have done. Many of the women have chosen, they have to select what they want to do themselves. So they get a little guidance on the technical know-how, but they have to say, I want to do sewing, or I want to do embroidery, or I want to make baskets, or I want to make soap. These are some of the small projects that are
women can do at home.
Do easily at home while they're taking care of kids and agriculture and everything else in their lives.
That doesn't need overhead also to open store.
So basically, we have funded 10 women at the beginning of 2010. And then we're starting a new cycle this month again. And what this student is going to do, she's an intern with Soheir, she's going to see what happened to the first 10 women, if they were successful and if they had any problems, and did they repay the loans. We're really opposed to any high interest, because that's one of the biggest problems with microcredit today. In India, for example, there are organizations that charge up to, and I couldn't believe that, 30% interest. That is just really victimizing the poor. With the organization we work with, it's a small administrative fee, but there is nothing such as big interest, because these are poor people, and it shouldn't be that way. It's not a form of exploitation, it's a form of helping them help themselves. We have had many other projects in Congo, for example, with all the rape that's going on with the civil wars in there. We've had an ongoing project for 4 years, and that project helps women with, they take a small lot of land and they try to do agriculture to feed themselves and their children. And we just received a technical report last week, and it's going to be refunded again. It's in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We, this year, just to kind of go over some of the current projects, we had an anti-trafficking in Vietnam. The borders between Vietnam and China is an area where a lot of Vietnamese women are being trafficked. So we did several workshops to let the people know that they're being lied to, and that their kids, the girls that are taken, are not going to be working in good jobs. They are going to become sex workers, basically. So we did several workshops. We're very active in the area of trafficking, and in fact, SHARE took on a local partner, a new, they're not quite a nonprofit, but they're working under our ID. That's another way to help other individuals that want to do this kind of work. And that gal is a dynamo. She came up with a recipe. She's one of my former students. I graduated from Berkeley, and right now finishing her master's degree in Cambridge.
Wow.
And while she's doing this, she went to Haiti and spent a lot of time and came up with a new technique that will help reduce the number of trafficked women.
Wow.
Because she's using technology to link people with nonprofit organizations. So if a woman is in distress, she can use cell phones, and she's connecting everybody. And so it's kind of a very interesting experimental type project that we're involved in.
Smart new generation can do a lot.
The technology, you know. We have helped in Pakistan because of the floods and some of the natural disasters in Pakistan, helped bring hygiene and kits to certain areas. Of course, we're small, but at least it helps. We are very active in Kenya. We have about 3 projects, and we have several partner organizations. Many of them work on violence against women, and one works on female genital mutilation to make parents aware of the horrors of that practice, traditional practice. Let's see, we just funded again our Cambodian partner to do microcredit, women opening small shops and selling products. And we've had microcredit with them before. We had English language, we had photography, and this is our new cycle of funding with them. So these are all, you could see, it's a multitude of projects, but mostly in health, education, and they revolve around women and children and families. We have done quite a number of projects in Nicaragua with women on biogas technology in order to bring in some form of heat and for cooking and for heating their places and so on. So it's really not in a certain area, but it has to be, the idea comes from the nonprofits abroad. We do not impose our own ideas. They have to come with the request. And we try as much as possible to screen these requests, because some of them wanting to do something good, but there are unintended consequences. And I guess my background, having worked as a consultant for many, many years, comes in handy. Like, I'm not quite agreeing with the approach of drilling a well in everybody's house, because if you don't have the size of the aquifer known, pretty soon the water table will go down and nobody will have any water at all. And it would have major impact on agriculture. So we try to screen it from a technical perspective, as well as, are they truthful, are they good, do they serve a lot of people? These are the kinds of concerns we have.
That's wonderful. Is there any problem with the Middle East? I didn't see any program for Middle East.
No, we have had a lot of projects in Yemen, a lot of projects in Yemen. And we've had some in Egypt, and we had some in Jordan. I personally do not favor one area, and it's all based on requests. And I have to tell you, who makes most requests? India. India, every day there are 2 projects from India, and they're all non-profit organizations. It seems like everybody in India has a non-profit organization.
They learn the trick.
Yes, and they write. Kenya is a very also competitive country and sends a lot of projects. The Middle East is less in seeking grants from SHARE, and I believe it's for 2 reasons. One, I believe our amounts of money is too small. 500, they don't care about 500, and they're used to bigger, millions and so on. Number 2, I believe the language barrier, the fact that the website is in English and Makes so sense. On. So that's the situation with the Middle East.
So, before we go, is there any favorite project? You practice something you would like to tell us?
I think I really have one favorite project that took place, and it was in Egypt. I got this request from a woman who became now my very best friend. In fact, I meet her in a couple of weeks when I go back to Egypt for a visit. And she had a nonprofit organization, and she said, I want to teach computers to all those girls that graduate from technical schools. They have a degree from a technical school, but none of them know how to use the computer well, and as a result, they can't get a job. So I want to teach them how to have good computer skills so they can compete and
hands-on
work. So I said, you know, we don't have much money, so what are you thinking of? And she said, well, give me your $500 and I'm going to buy a computer. Well, at that time, computers, especially a laptop, was really expensive. Yet a friend of hers had a used one. So she bought this used laptop, and she hired 3 instructors to work day and night to train these women, young women, and she had a lot of demand, and because she was not asking them for any pay, and these are poor girls that need the jobs. So she did a great job, and then it occurred to her that she should apply to the American Embassy for more money. So she wrote a proposal to the American Embassy, and she said, I have a computer training center, and I need 10 more computers to add to increase our capacity for work. So she said, nobody, did anything, and one afternoon she's sitting in doing the accounting in the office, and there is this American woman that walks in, and she says, I'm here to see your center. We're investigating and looking at whether we should fund you or not. And all she had was that little laptop all covered with a towel. And that was the training center that she had. But she had the guts, she had the willingness, and she talked the woman into donating 10 computers.
Wow.
So she got the 10 computers, and then she wrote to the Korean embassy and saying, Egypt buys Korean cars and Korean this and Korean this, and you never help us. You have to help us. We have a computer center, but we need more computers. So they came in with 35 computers with big screen televisions and all kinds of technical equipment.
Wow.
So I think it's my favorite story because you start very small, but you have the guts and you build on whatever small capacity you have. And
she is smart. She uses
very, very smart.
Tools.
Very smart. Yeah.
So what is the address for your organization?
We are in Fair Oaks, and the address is 8370 Sunset Avenue in Fair Oaks. So we're located in Fair Oaks, yet most of our supporters come from all over the world and from all over the United States, and not a whole lot from Fair Oaks.
And what about the website? The website address.
The website is www.theshareinstitute.org, and the share, the first the is a small THE. It's not a big one.
Okay.
It's the Share Institute.
We'll show it on the screen. So it was a really long journey, but we share it with you.
Oh,
it was nice to have you with us, and we learn a lot of your work, and I hope that will benefit my viewers too, and I hope that we will share experience also and help from your organization to other organizations. On behalf of my viewers, I would like to thank you for coming to our show, and really I appreciate your coming and your help.
Thank you so much for hosting me. And I just want to mention that in order to connect, the fastest way is the email address.
What is the email address?
It's Stolba. So it's SSTOLBA@AOL.com. That's direct line to me.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. What about my viewers? We were going to that long journey together with an extraordinary woman. She has the talent and she has the good heart, and she insists to do something good. As I always said, reach out, go out, find out something new. You might like it, it might touch your heart, and someday you will make a difference like others. So thank you, my viewers. We'll see you next time.